Looks like Charlo versus Andrade is going to be on hold for a little bit because Demetrius Andrade has to defend his WBO mandatory. Let's talk about it in this video. King Jr. got another video for y'all. So we have some interesting news on Boxing News 24 that Demetrius Andrade is going to have to fight his WBO mandatory against Zanabek. If you guys don't know who Zanabek is a guy that I looked at closely in this 160-pound division. He is no joke. He is a pressure fighter. He has a very lot of skills. But I think Demetrius Andrade beat Zanabek, whatever you want to call him. But I think that's a very dangerous fight. But it seems to me that Demetrius Andrade has a WBO mandatory, so the Charlo versus Andrade fight is not going to happen because we seen the scenario with Eugenio Ugas and Errol Spence Jr. Errol Spence Jr. tried to tell the WBA, look, we want to make this fight. WBA says it's not. We don't care what the fans think. We're not making that fight happen. And then Ugas was pushing to not fight Stanionis because I feel like Stanionis isn't ready. And so the WBA says, look, let's just make this fight between Errol Spence Jr. and Eugenio Ugas. We'll pay Stanionis step-aside money. The WBO can do the same situation by paying step-aside money against Janabek, but the WBO is going to not allow Demetrius Andrade to do that, so he has 30 days to make a negotiation. This is why I hate having belts for a reason, because when you finally get a moment to unify the division, you get a mandatory that pops up. Now, Janabek, this isn't a very dangerous fight for Demetrius Andrade. We seen Demetrius Andrade fought Liam Williams, and Demetrius Andrade was having problems dealing with the pressure of Liam Williams, and he's going to have a lot of problems dealing with pressure of Janabek. And Janabek has 13 wins, 11 knockouts, I believe. And I think that Janabek, the WBO's like, look, this guy has been in our rankings for a little bit. It's finally time to give him his title shot. I don't think Janabek is going to take step-aside money. Demetrius Andrade just needs to try to get this fight out of the way. A lot of people have Demetrius Andrade losing to Janabek. I don't know. I'm picking Demetrius Andrade to win the fight. Janabek is a very dangerous fight for Demetrius Andrade, but the boxing ability that Demetrius Andrade has, if he can get Janabek out of there just like he did Jason Quigley, we know Jason Quigley wasn't the best, but if he can get him out of there just like Jason Quigley, Demetrius Andrade will have nothing to worry about, and he can unify the titles with Jamal Charlo, even though Jamal Charlo called him out and stuff like that. They should have been unified the division. Soon as after Liam Williams, Demetrius Andrade was calling out Jamal Charlo, and Jamal Charlo admits that DAZN and Eddie Hearn gave them a deal. They just wouldn't accept it because you guys know Demetrius Andrade do very bad business. We seen him do very bad business and pulled out of the fight a few days earlier, and Jamal Charlo had to run around and find another opponent because Demetrius Andrade messed up the money for that fight. And, Demetrius Andrade just had a bad manager. If Demetrius Andrade was promoted right and stuff like that, he would have been probably a superstar boxer. Demetrius Andrade is a star boxer. He's not a superstar, in my opinion, due to the decision-making he made. And, I got to say this, guys, about this Canelo debacle. Demetrius Andrade, you just need to stop worrying about Canelo, okay? Just focus on your career. Focus on trying to get as many fights as you possibly can. Try to do something in the division. There was talks that Demetrius Andrade was going to move up to 168, and that's being put on hold right now. I don't know what the situation on. He was going to fight somebody for the vacant WBO belt because WBO was looking for Demetrius Andrade to move up so Janabek could have a chance. But now it seems to me that Demetrius Andrade has 30 days to make an offer to Janabek or purse bid. You guys know how the WBO works. But Charlo versus Andrade is not happening. Demetrius Andrade has to defend his mandatory. I think he will be successful against Janabek. I think it's a dangerous fight, but I think Demetrius Andrade will be successful. And, like I said before, Demetrius Andrade messed up his own career. We know the whole situation with Canelo in the belt situation. Well, once the tough gets going, you got to continue to try to fight other fighters. You know, Canelo may be the biggest payday you want, but Canelo says that you haven't done nothing, and Demetrius Andrade agreed that he hasn't done nothing. And so maybe if you unify the titles, maybe if you try to clinch on and get a GGG fight, maybe look, Canelo, we should fight Demetrius Andrade now. He is proving himself. Maybe you might get the Canelo fight, but Canelo's not coming down to 160. He's not going down to 168. He's probably going to look at the fight you at damn near light heavyweight if you ever get the Canelo fight, which I don't think you ever will get it. But you have to move on with your career. You need to try to beat this Janabek dude next, even though it's a very dangerous fight. You need to try to beat him and make a statement like, look, Charlo, you ain't gonna do me like Julian J. Rock Williams. I'm gonna take that belt from you, stuff like that. You guys know how to game the sport of boxing. But with that being said, guys, Demetrius Andrade versus Charlo is not happening. Demetrius Andrade has a WBO mandatory. They feel like Janabek, it's time for him to get his shot. He has been waiting too long, and maybe he should take step aside money, but I don't see the WBO doing that because do you know how these sanctioned bodies like to ruin big fights? I say take the step aside money and let Demetrius Andrade and Charlo fight. Whoever winning that fight gets to fight Janabek next. But you guys know the business of boxing. With that being said, it is what it is. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment. This is your boy King Jr. I'm out of here. Peace.